Morning, beloveds. So it's morning here in South Devon in my mum's caravan, and it's an interesting time in the moment. I'm not used to being here really in autumn, and I do find the lack of the light spectrum sometimes a little bit hits me, so I have to get myself up and moving and doing things, otherwise the feeling of heaviness comes in. I think in the moment we are going through quite a lot of this, where we visit very deep patterns held in the body-mind structures from our own life and from what we inherit also from our families. So it's a great time in this moment to see that, to be with that, and to somehow, I would like to say manage, but that sounds a little bit wrong, to be with it. As I say, not to jump into it, but to, in the moments that these maybe not so comfortable feelings come, that we actually come back to the moment, we come back to here, and we move from here. Because usually these feelings often are coming from past, or they're coming from fear of the future, or worrying maybe about the future, or some old patterns that are there. So if one, for me, it's like I have to constantly just keep coming back to the moment. With the life that I lead, which is, most people would say, is not a safe, secure life, because I do have a house which I rent with friends in Pune, but that can be taken. Rents go up, everything like this happens. So these things are there. I don't have a home in another country in this moment. Well, my mother is around, which is beautiful, and she is very generous, and we have a very good connection, and I'm very blessed by that. I also have very good friends around, but the reality is that I am living a life which is very different from many people of my age. So, I'm now 59. Just in September I turned 59. So it's an interesting age. One wonders how one gets to be that age. Last thing I remember, I was 35. Anyway, it is what it is. It's just the body moving and the body doing its thing, and I am absolutely grateful to be in this body, and this body to be the age it is. I wouldn't go back for anything. It's very beautiful to be able to be in this here now. So as I said, it is a time of just, you could say it's a time, for some people, of crisis. I find it the most precious time on the planet, but I also find it sometimes challenging, and to stay in the moment, to just keep coming back to this moment. When the mind wants to whiz off, or there is stuff physically, the body might be going through things. You know, you might have a cold. I haven't got a cold, but I've got a cough this morning. It might be that something like a heavy energy comes, and that might be there for a moment. This may be held in the body. It might be something that I inherit, or you inherit. My grandfather and my father were both manic depressive, and I know the space of that. I know the feeling of that. I know the taste and the smell of that. And I feel very blessed that I have given myself the gift to be on the search, and through meditation, through working with Diraj and the beautiful people in the Tibetan Osho Tibetan Pulsing and the Osho commune, as it was then called, in Pune. I have been very blessed to be able to walk through, if you want the dark night of the soul, to walk through many of the things that are held in this body-mind system. And now it doesn't mean that they necessarily are not there. Sometimes they do come to visit, but they can sit by my side, and I'm not afraid of them. I don't need to invite them in. and I don't need to push them away. But I can see that there are things that I can do which will support me. So, and I see that there are things that I can do which will not support me. So I have to truly work out what is, and take responsibility for the steps that I take. So for me, it's a matter of, if I'm in bed in the morning and suddenly it's like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed, I don't want to get out, don't want to get out, I want to stay in, and everything starts to shrink and feel tight. I go, okay, sometimes I even have a cry and I just think, oh, no, do my thing. And then I go, okay, get on, get out of bed. And I get out of bed and I maybe go and have a shower and I maybe make myself a cup of tea or whatever it is. We all have certain things that help us to cope in each moment. And this is the beauty, to find the things that help us to expand, to help us to take a deep breath, to help us to find that space inside where we're not having to negate or pretend that that is not there, but we're not feeding that. And that is the gift of it, to see our own unique individual selves as a whole and not try to say, I don't like this, so I'm going to just cut it off. You can't say, I don't like my hand, so I'm actually just going to cut it off and throw it away. We need it. So it's the same with many things in our life. All these uncomfortable things come for a reason, and they come for us to see how we can do it maybe a little bit differently, how we can support ourselves, who we want to be around, who supports us, what energy supports us, because ultimately it comes back to, it's all about energy. It's not about the mask that people put on, it's about the energy which they come to you. Because it's really interesting, you can have one person there and they look very friendly towards you and they look very nice and they're saying all the right things, but somehow it just feels so difficult to be around them. And then you can have another person who's doing exactly the same thing. They can even maybe be talking the same stuff or whatever, but they have a totally different energy within them, and you suddenly realize that they are authentic. They are not putting a mask on. And then you can really enjoy them. So this is the trick of really tuning in and feeling what situations and what people and what places support you. And in this, as I've said before, there is this small method which is a very useful one and has been very useful for me, and that is basically that you see what contracts you and makes you feel small, and you see what you can do or what expands you and helps you to feel that you have more space and you can breathe more. Now that might be what you think is a negative thing. It might be that you have to have a shout. It might mean that you have to have a cry. It doesn't mean that you just have to put on the nicey face. But start to watch on an energy of the body what contracts you and makes you feel small, and what expands you and helps you to feel that you have more space. Now in each moment that might change, it won't be set. So just start to be aware of it. As you become the experiment with yourself, you will find it is a brilliant tool to take responsibility for your body and for yourself, and you will find that it will support you, so you don't have to run away from difficult situations, but you can be aware of them and be aware of what you need to do to support yourself. It might mean that you're in a meeting and you can't get out of the meeting because you've got to be there for work, but it might mean that you maybe just go to the loo or something, and maybe you come back and maybe you sit on the other side of the person, or you just take a deep breath and come back to yourself and then go back and deal with the situation, especially if you feel that you're getting overwhelmed. Try not to run away from it. Try and see if you can at least go back, and if not, then move away from it for a while. Anyway, much is happening. I am choosing not to hang around with a lot of people. I find a lot of people they are in crisis at the moment, but they're not really ready to acknowledge it and they're not really ready to ask or be ready to want to ask to see if anybody can help. So they are struggling in their own way to do it in their own way, and I totally respect that. But sometimes I when you know that you might be able to support somebody, it's interesting to sit back and watch and allow them that they have to struggle sometimes, and it is not your right to interfere. And you just have the most loving heart towards them, and when they're ready, and if they're ever ready, they will ask for help. And then for me, I find that it just something comes through. I don't always know what I'm going to say, often don't know what I'm going to say, like these videos, but the wisdom comes through sometimes, and well, sometimes actually I trust the wisdom comes through, and it's not about that the person has to take it or not take it. It's up to them whether it resonates with them or not. It's like, it doesn't mean that what I say is right for them or wrong for them. It's just giving them another option to look at it maybe in a different way, and then they just have to see if it smells right for them, if it tastes right. It maybe gives them a possibility to try something different and see and have an experiment for themselves. And now we are very blessed on the planet. There are many beautiful people around who are sharing their wisdom and not wanting to take the responsibility away from people, and also it's not having to be that you have to be believing in a religion as such. It's basically ultimately empowering, helping to empower you to start to trust the wisdom which is inside you. We all have an innate wisdom. It's just that we've got many clothes on, all this stuff we've got on us, so many layers of who we're supposed to be, what we're supposed to be, and everything like that. And this is why we use meditation. This is why we use groups sometimes. This is why we share with somebody that we feel is wise. Be aware who you share with. Don't take advice from everybody. Look at this person's life and see if their life is something that you value. See if they're living and walking their talk. See if they have an intrinsic quality that you value. And be aware when you really waste your time whining with people, when it's just about gossiping and you're both supporting each other's smallness, and you're actually increasing the structures that are not supporting you. Be aware when you go and start really gossiping in a very nasty way about people when you're not really ready to go and talk to the person to their face. Watch yourself, catch yourself with your words, catch yourself with your actions, catch yourselves with what you post on Facebook. Catch yourself all the time with going, oh my gosh, that's a really negative attitude that I have, or that's really an unkind thing that I'm saying about somebody else, what I'm projecting on somebody else, whether it's what you see or not. That's okay to see things about people as you see them. You are entitled to that. But watch and see when you are spreading nastiness, when you are being unkind, because ultimately the difficulty with that is then it comes back to you. And you go, would I like somebody to be projecting this stuff on me? And if you need to find something out about somebody, or you want to know, why don't you just ask them? And if you don't have the courage to ask them, maybe you should just keep your mouth shut. Of course, we see people and we are allowed to have our opinions. And for me, it's always, when I say anything to anybody, it's just say, this is what I see. This is what I understand. I don't know if that feels right for you or not. Maybe you have a look at it if you feel to, and see if there's any value in it for you. If there's not, please throw it in the rubbish. Because also sometimes a wise person will be telling you stuff which may be totally opposite. It might be a total lie, because that is also part of the wisdom of the enlightened person, or the the guide is eventually to push you to start taking responsibility for yourself, to start not just swallowing everything. So this is my gibberish for this morning. It's Sunday here. It's raining outside. We got some rain, and I'm going out with my friend, but my mum's friend Eileen, and we are going up to, oh, let me have a little look. It's Bulbury Downs, and in South Devon, and there used to be a very old pub up there. I can't remember the name. But they have now taken that down, and they've built a whole beautiful new area, and they've opened a new restaurant up there. And my mum knows the people that own it. So we thought they've just opened. So Eileen and I are going to go up for lunch. We're going to go up for lunch. And it's called Ocean's Restaurant in South Devon, Bulbury Downs, if you're ever around. Google it, and I'm sure it's going to be lovely. I will actually try and remember to take a picture in this nice rainy day. So we're going in. Apparently they have a wood burning stove in there, and they also have some couple of nice couches in there, so you can sit in there also. And it's big windows looking out over Bulbury Downs, which is looking out over the sea and everything. So it's a beautiful place to go. So that's mine for today. Anyway, my darlings, please don't give up. Don't give up. And don't give up. We are in a shift. It is intense. And we have to face all the things that we're hiding. But then, the goodies come. I promise you. And we are moving into such a beautiful time. But we are challenged to step up and be real. So, I love you heaps. Going to make myself another cup of tea and get on with my morning. Just remember to take a deep breath sometime. Remember you are loved. Remember you are valued. Remember you are needed just for who you are, even if that's totally fucked up sometimes. It's beautiful to show all the faces we have. It's beautiful to show them all, because they all make us human. They all make us see that we're all human, and we have many parts to us. And this existence is never against us. But in this time, for sure, we are being challenged to step up and get real. And grow and mature into the beautiful beings that we are. Don't be afraid of the difficult things. They are not there to hurt you. They are just there to move you on and teach you to take a deep breath and keep moving. Okay, you're not alone. Love you.